So refrigerant to pressurize your cold side and check for leaks on your turbo setup. So remember that pro tip. And acetone to clean transmission parts. What could possibly go wrong?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crazy mother.
What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and welcome back to another episode of Burndown. So today we are going to hopefully get some parts for this guy. This is my transmission. In the last episode, it made a bunch of big chunky glitter. It wasn't even like glitter, it was flakes, shavings, and it was magnetic, so it was steel. We were thinking hard parts, worst case, like planetaries, bearings, bad things were gonna happen. My friend came over yesterday. As you can see, we made a complete mess, blew the whole thing apart. I've got more parts over there, pulled the planetaries, inspected everything, for the most part, pump everything. So all this guy, everybody's all apart. And then we got this dude in here. Bam. So anyway, everything is blown apart. We looked at everything. No signs of any big chunky wear. Like the size of the flakes or shavings that were coming off, it would be apparent. There'd be something in here that was giving up the ghost, but there isn't. So that leads me to believe it's my converter, which I was changing out anyway, that I was pushing through. So I was murdering that thing apparently, and it put shavings into here, but they didn't. I think the filter caught most of it, which is also really cool. But now that it's all apart, I gotta clean all this crap, gotta clean the case, and then there were, the bands and clutches need to be changed, and then there was the reverse drum down here in this box, also needs to be changed. He said to get a new drum. So I'm gonna take all these things. We're gonna go to the transmission store today and get these. I'm gonna figure out how to clean all this crap, and then later tonight we'll be throwing this thing back together. Now I say we, I'm just gonna stand here. I probably hold the light. That's about as good as I am for transmission work, but we'll try to get this thing put. My friend will put this thing back together. I will hold the light, and then I will slam it back in my car come tomorrow. So I'm definitely running out of time. The event is like 4 days away. Monday, Tuesday, was it Thursday? So I'm supposed to leave Thursday. It's Monday. This is the state of affairs. All right, here we are at Automatic Kings in Riverside. Take my parts in, see what we can do. Let's go get some parts. So we made it out of Automatic Kings. It's like a hot and ready fresh pizza of transmission parts. And I don't know, hopefully that makes my transmission work better. So I'm gonna get out of here, gotta run more errands, but I got those parts, got a bunch of crap to clean, so we'll go do that. And then I gotta find some sort of solvent. I'm in California, they don't sell solvent very much anymore. Like, they took everything that's good off the shelf. So we're gonna make some phone calls, figure out what I can do. We'll get a bucket, dump some crap in it, and then literally I'll go home and just clean stuff and lay it all out, and then that thing will be ready to rock and roll this evening. Then we'll roll back over to the car. I gotta wire the boost controller up, and I wanna pressure test the cold side, because I've had issues at the dyno before where my cold side was just venting completely to the atmosphere and not going into the manifold. And since I have downtime, instead of putting it on the dyno and hoping it works, I'll just check it now so we know it works when we get there. But let's get out of here. All right, I'm out running errands. I'm actually gonna get my father-in-law's flatbed, so I have it to take the car to the dyno, and then my wife is gonna chase me in this truck when we try to drive anyways. I just wanted to share with you guys the nicest Chevron gas station probably on the planet. Look at this thing. It's like made of glass, like this big ass glass building. And then the whole roof that covers the gas station is all solar panels. Look at this thing. This is so ridiculous. What a rad gas station. Big old glass panel up there. So, nicest Chevron on the planet. That's where all my $4 and something cents a gallon gas is going. But we're gonna gas up, grab the trailer, head back home, and then hopefully start working. All right, so we made it back home. I've got, well, they're not back there, but I have my transmission parts in here. They look like they're in the pizza box. I borrowed my father-in-law's fancy like diamond plate blinding trailer. When you're by this thing, it's funny because it looks cool, but if it's sunny out, you're like, you gotta put your sunglasses on, hang out by the trailer. So I have this. I had to make my way down there doing errands anyway, so I'll need this to take it to the dyno. And then, like I said, my wife will drive this and chase me hopefully all the way to Vegas this time, not halfway there like last year. But I'm gonna rinse all the parts off. I'm gonna go pressure wash the case, but I have to drop the trailer, and we're gonna go play with the Malibu real quick and wire up that stuff. I want to pressure test the cold side, flush the trans cooler. Whew, man, getting tired just thinking about it. So let's drop this thing off. We'll run over, play with the Malibu. We're not doing the transmission rebuild till this evening, so I'm not going to waste a day cleaning stuff because I can do that tonight before my buddy swings by to put that thing back together. So let's get cracking. All right, we're kind of done running errands. I'm back at my buddy Chuck's house. We're going to pressure test the cold side so I don't have any boost leak issues when we finally hit the dyno, because now we're way behind. I'm gonna wire up the boost control. I ran the wires into the cabin, so I'm gonna wire up everything on the ECU. I figured out where the 5-volt reference comes from. And then I think that's about it. We'll get rolling. All right, so we got the wiring all done, pretty much buttoned up. There's a big cable down there that needs to get buttoned up. And then I'm gonna do something with this hole here because I'd like to mount the little LCD right there. I don't want it tilted, it's harder to see. I want it up and down. So I'm gonna make a piece when I go back home that will span past this and past that, and I'll rivet it in. And then that'll allow me to attach that to that right here where I want it. And then we'll just run the cable back and through. So that can just be kind of a little permanent fixture because I don't really need it to go anywhere at this point. And then I'll just have to make sure I can plug the laptop in and out when I'm using that. So I wish I could have both, like a port for that and the laptop, but I don't know. First things first. So we made this piece up to put some pressure into the cold side, then we can check for leaks. And then this is what happens when you have a buddy that's a retired refrigeration HVAC guy. He's like, we'll just put some Freon or whatever's in it so we can check it. I'm like, okay, dude. So I guess we're gonna do that. But as long as it doesn't leak, I don't really care what's in there at this point. I just want it to work. So we're gonna check all the couplers and make sure we're good to go. With Freon apparently, or whatever. What do we put in there, Chuck?
Refrigerant.
Refrigerant. So if you're wondering why I'm doing this, if you watch my other video, I went all the way to the dyno one time and it made 0 boost because it was leaking everywhere. So I came home and figured it out and I had to take the intercooler out. So I'm checking it now because I'm so behind schedule. I still don't have transmission in. Then I want to make sure all of this stuff is good to go, so when the tranny goes in, we can go straight to the dyno and then probably get in it from there and drive hopefully to Vegas. So let's check for leaks. No leaks, no leaks. You got to fill the volume up, right?
Yeah, that's what I assume.
All of this is all
Okay.
air or space to fill.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa. Oh, crazy. Sounds like I already hear it leaking. Something's leaking. Oh, that's hilarious. The cooler has a hole in it.
Cooler has a hole.
Right there.
I go get the.
All that effort for that thing and it has a freaking leak in, or a hole in it, but that's not a good start. Hopefully we can find, I'll put epoxy or something in that thing. We'll JB weld this bitch. So fix this one and then we'll keep on rolling. Well, I didn't see that coming. I thought that thing looked a little beat up, but I didn't think it had holes in it. So hopefully that's the only one. I have a little 2-part epoxy. We're just gonna scuff it up and pack some of that in there and call it good. And that should be fine. We're not pushing a ton of PSI, and that stuff's pretty crazy if you've ever messed with like an epoxy. So we will try that, and then we'll go back, pressure test it again, but the clock is ticking. I'm gonna make a U-turn just so you guys can see this tailgate on this truck. This thing's awesome. Look at that. Bam! Mural of truck on truck. I love that thing. That guy lives over by me. Strong steel stick. And I got this, where did I get this? It's like a 2-part, it's like a 2-part thing. And you just knead it together. It's kind of like JB Weld. but I used it to fix the grill on the Studebaker because the edges were kind of cracked. So the shit hardens up and you can sand it and file it and paint it and everything like that. So I'd imagine it'll fix that hole after I pick it up from the dirt and we take it back. And I'm gonna clean off the little spot, and it was just a little tiny hole in the thing. It was a tiny hole in the thing. We gotta fix the thing so we can go fast. Man, I'm already tired and I still have all these parts to clean. And then my boy's coming over later to assemble this. So it's gonna be a long week. I can't wait to get to Vegas because at this point, getting tired. So let's go.
If you want that tray.
All right, so we got some 2-part epoxy on here. The rest of the bubble gum's right here. We'll leave it to make sure it gets hard. And then I'm just gonna let that set up overnight. And then we'll come back and we'll try to pressurize it again. Hopefully we won't have any other leaks. But that was pretty obvious. I don't know, I didn't catch that. The rest of the fins, bars, plates, everything looked good. All right, so I am back home in my garage. We threw the epoxy on the intercooler. My friend Chuck trimmed back like a bunch of the fins, so now it's like a gaping spot. It's like, hey, I wonder what happened there. So he did that so he could see what was going on. So thank you for cutting on my intercooler, Chuck. That was pretty awesome. And then he wanted to pressurize it with refrigerant. But you know what? Chuck's a badass. He's like 80 years old. And if he wants to do that, I don't even care. And it's just good fun. It doesn't really bother me a bit. And then since we're on the path of doing things wrong, I have a bucket. And then I bought a gallon of acetone that I'm going to use to clean the transmission parts, because in California you can't get any real solvents. I figured that flashes off quickly, it'll eat grease, it eats stuff, it's not going to leave residue. Yeah. So refrigerant to pressurize your cold side and check for leaks on your turbo setup, so remember that pro tip, and acetone to clean transmission parts. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, if I'm not doing it right, you guys you let me know. But I'm gonna open this up, go pressure wash this case, and then the rest of the hard parts, we'll just get a bath and some acetone with a little brush. And then we're gonna paint happy little transmission parts. We're gonna say very nice things to them. We're gonna put it back together, and then hopefully they treat me well this weekend. But okay, so we got the case pressure washed, letting that dry, air dried it as best I could. So hopefully it's good to go. And then I've got my bucket here with the crap, and then I'm just gonna take each piece and then soak it and put it back, because I know we blew this apart. I don't know if he remembers what order anything's in. I don't think it matters. I think he's done more than enough of these. But if for me, I'd be freaking out if stuff was moving around. But that's it. I'm gonna sit and just soak everything, kind of brush it off and clean it, and then hopefully we can reassemble it. And the hot rod gods are friendly, and then we'll be rolling. So I'll keep you posted, show you guys when we slam this thing back together. And here she is. This is by far the cleanest this transmission has ever been since I have owned it. My boy signed it, hopefully for good luck. All right, well, that is it for this episode. If you're still watching, thank you very much for sticking around. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, slam this thing in the car, put the thing back together, fire it up. Hopefully it makes it around the block. If it does, we're loading it on the trailer, and we're gonna hit the dyno and hopefully make some numbers. And at this point, we already make a pretty good power before. If we can make a little bit more, that's terrific, but mainly, I would really love for this thing to stay together and hold together long enough for me to drive all the way to Vegas. And then after that, we just got to race the F-bomb. Everything after that's just gravy. So that is the meat and potatoes of our journey. There's going to be lots of cool stuff at LS Fest. So please consider liking this, subscribing it, sharing with your friends. I'm going to have a bunch of content hopefully coming out within the next week and probably the week after that, because we're going to chop up all the LS Fest stuff into bite-sized pieces. Because if I make one video, I would probably bore myself with it. So you guys have a good one. Until next time, I'm out.